Nou, Augustus is natuurlijk 'n vrouemaand en ter viering van vrouemaand het ons gedink dit sal lekker wees om met 'n merkwaardige vrou te praat en sy het in Februarie 101 jaar oud geword. Nou, Amalia Snyman sluit by ons aan. Welcome. It's such an honor to have you here this morning.
You know, I'm always surprised when people say, oh, we want to hear all about it. I always think everybody had more or less the same experiences, but apparently not.
No, I don't think everyone had the same experiences, but we want to get to know you slightly better. So let's start with your childhood, because in your book that you write and you left for your family, you speak about the fact that you moved around a lot. What are some of the highlights of your childhood that you can remember?
There weren't many highlights actually, because it was always an interrupted kind of life. From the first years with my mother and father, then father left, and then in the convent, and then with the grandparents. So it was all, let's say, in phases. And I never had time actually to enjoy each one of them, because by the time I was 10, I had been with my mother and my father, with my mother alone, then in the convent, and then in my grandparents. So in 10 years, I had four different
homes. Yeah.
atmospheres, let's say.
Yes, atmospheres. Yeah.
And my grandmother was not very old, but she looked very old to me. And she was like a mother to us eventually when we went to stay with them. But I realized the difference between my mother and my grandmother. There wasn't the same understanding of children, definitely.
Yes. Your life took the most fascinating turns, some tragic and some very joyful. Just take us, where were you born?
Where was I born?
Born, yes.
In Florence.
In Florence, in Italy.
In Italy, the most beautiful city, of course. We Florentines are very snobbish. We always say we speak the best Italian, and it is the most beautiful city. Yeah.
It is a beautiful city. I absolutely agree.
Yes.
You also lived through World War II. How do you live through a world war? Because in your book, once again, you described that first year as almost feeling normal, like there was not much of a difference. When did that change start to happen?
Well, of course, at the beginning of the war, it didn't touch Italy at all. We only knew there was a war because all the young people had to be in the army and go off. But we were very distant from the war. But when the Allies landed in Sicily and the Germans came from the north to occupy Italy, that's when the war for us started. And it was bad. It was very bad, yeah.
Wow. You mentioned also the fact that you helped a lot of people. You speak about Victor that you helped. You speak about a Jewish friend that you helped. Did you ever think about the risks that you were taking?
Of course, yes. You know, I wasn't a child anymore. I was 21, 22. So I knew the risk, and I was alone because my family was all in Florence. And I didn't want to go because all the farm was divided in 10 lots in which there were families looking after the farm. And there were 10 families who relied on me. And when they came to fetch me, my family, they all came to me and said, don't go. So I stayed. But luckily I wasn't alone because we had a maid and a cook and a farm manager. But still, everything was on me, also because I could speak German. So if the Germans, whenever they came to occupy houses and so on, I was the one to be able to talk to them and try and put them off.
Wow, that's incredible, because the Germans also lived in your house at certain stages.
Yes. They occupied our house was in 3 stories, and on the first floor, they occupied most of it. And, you know, they were not very, very gentle and kind, I must say. But eventually, when I started speaking German to them, they became a little bit more human. But we were still very scared of them because we knew what they were doing. They stole things, like they took our... We had oil and wine in the cellars because our farm was very big. And they just went in and took everything. And so I had to talk to them and try and put them off, yeah. But I was scared.
That was, I'm wondering about that now, because as an early 20s person, you're put in this environment where you have to be a caretaker for so many people in a time of war with the Russians there. The experiences you had at that stage of your life, did that form you later on in life? Did that form the basis of your development and your growth later on?
Definitely. Definitely, I changed from a spoiled teenager to a responsible grown-up very quickly. I had to do it very quickly. Or I could have given it up. I could have gone to Florence to my family and given everything up, but I'm stubborn. I'm still very stubborn and pig-headed. And I wanted to do it because I felt it was my conscience telling me, no, you can't go away, you must stay. So I stayed, yeah.
That's incredible. I know you even speak about writing a German-Italian dictionary at a stage. And I thought that's such a nice thing. Why did you guys decide to make this dictionary?
You know, not only that, also the English one, because I realized there were quite a few war songs that they, both Italians, actually all 3, Italian and the English and the German, sang with different words, like Lily Marlene. Wow. That was a very, very well-known song. So I wanted to know exactly what it meant if they changed the meaning. So I started this little dictionary, and those ex-prisoners of war who were hiding all over the farm, they helped me also with the English one. Yeah. So, and I must say my English improved a lot. And my German too. Yeah.
We need to get to the part where you actually moved to South Africa, but we'll do that shortly. Welkom terug. Ons gaan voort met ons gesprek met daardie Amalia Snyman. Indrukwekkende storie wat sy het. Sy het deur die Tweede Wêreldoorlog geleef en sy vertel ons alles en sy is 101 hierdie jaar. I want to know, in 1947, you and your sister both married South African men. Where did you meet your husband?
Well, I was working as interpreter for the South African military police. And my sister used to come and visit sometimes, and I had a little flat. And that's how we got in touch with all the South Africans. And I met my husband because he used to come to the military police to bring prisoners or to get documents and so on. And then, of course, parties and so on. Everybody was mad about parties after the war. And my sister met her husband also through that, through coming to visit me and going to places with him and so on, yeah.
And this was all in Italy?
Yeah, in Genova, yeah.
And you eventually got married. Did you get married there or did you marry here?
No, we got married in Genova, and we got married at the British consulate and at the Italian magistrate court. No church wedding. Also because being Catholic, I would have had to have in those days we were very strict. I would have had to have a kind of a permission, let's say, from the Vatican.
Yeah.
Then when we came to South Africa, I got married in the church. So I had 3 marriages.
Oh, wow.
With one person only.
What was the biggest adjustment for you when you moved to South Africa?
There were lots of adjustments. Luckily, I took it as a new experience, and I was very curious to see how they were living here. It was very different, and even different from now.
Wow.
It was a real colonial place in those days. And, well, I did miss the comforts, yeah, yes. Especially when we went to the farm. Soon after we arrived, we went to the farm because my husband had a long license. He had 3 months off, and we were hoping that he wouldn't be discharged because then he would have had to look for a job. And we went to the farm, Botswana, border, Mafeking, above Mafeking. And I tell you, there, no toilets, no bathroom, no nothing. Everything was outside, and I was dead scared of snakes. And not knowing Afrikaans, my husband's family were Toro Boere.
Okay.
And yeah, I adjusted myself quite easily, I think, because I was interested.
Yes.
And I took everything as an adventure.
That's the thing.
It is an adventure.
How many children do you have?
3.
3 children.
Yes, 2 boys and a girl. They're all pensioners.
They're all pensioners.
Yes, yes.
Do they speak Italian? Do they speak Afrikaans, English? What languages do they speak?
My husband used to speak Afrikaans, and I spoke English to them. And so they're perfect in both languages. And my daughter's got a good Italian. And I spoke only English in the beginning. Then I picked up Afrikaans in the kitchen. My Afrikaans is the kitchen Afrikaans. But ik praat het goed. Ik denk, ik praat het baie goed. Yeah. But I'm not so very confident.
Okay.
Because I make mistakes very easily in my accent pronunciation. So I keep to English if I can.
Once you moved here, how often did you go back to Italy to go and visit?
In the beginning, I went back when my mother died in 1955 with the 3 children. And then we went back again a couple of years later with my husband. And then for a long time I didn't go, but my sister used to come every year. And then I started going after my husband died. Every year I used to go.
After 1987?
Yeah. From then on, I went every year, yeah, sometimes even twice a year. It's not that I missed Italy or the people there. It's just it was, I felt I had to go and reconnect. But my home was here, and my family was here, of course. So I came back happily.
It's a feeling that a lot of people nowadays also feel, the feeling of, I have 2 different homes, or my heart is in 2 different places. A lot of people live and work, or their families are in a different country and they are here, or older people especially, their children are in the UK. Or what advice do you have for people who feel like they're living in 2 worlds and their heart is torn apart? What advice do you have?
Well, their roots are definitely where they were born, because what you learn in the first years of your life remains there forever, and it is your roots, definitely, so that you cannot forget. And many times I find myself that the first words come into my mind it's in Italian, while it should be in English. But I think it is easy to be loyal to 2 countries. Yeah. Because you're half and half.
You're half and half, yes.
So you belong there and you belong here. So it's not, It's not bad. It's very easy to adjust. Yeah, definitely.
I think what is so nice having met you is you're so positive, and everything that's happened in your life, you've just taken it in your stride, and that's really amazing. But I want to know, what's the key to longevity? Is that whiskey that you enjoy?
No, but you know, the whiskey story only started after my husband died. I wasn't drinking whiskey. Now and again I had a sherry or something. But after my husband died and all the children were away, the one in Durban, the other one in Paraguay, and the one in Nelspruit. And one evening, my daughter-in-law, Elise, phoned me and asked me, how are you, Ma? So I said, no, horrible. So she said, Ma, sit down, take a whiskey, put a bit of ice in it, and drink it. And since then, you won't believe it, since then, every night I have a little whiskey with ice. So I can say my daughter-in-law drove me to drink.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it was very, very, very wise of her, definitely. It helps.
What is a piece of wisdom you would like to leave with young people today?
First of all, be positive. Never dwell on the bad things. And whenever I'm worried in the evening, I say, look, tomorrow's another day. Let's leave it till tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm not going to sleep well. So it's better to postpone everything that's bad to when you think you can resolve it or you can take it. Yeah.
Wow.
But being positive, it's in your nature. That's the trouble. How do you build it up?
Yes.
Luckily, I was born positive. My sister was born negative. And you could see the difference.
Wow.
She was younger than me. She died before me about 10 years ago now. Yeah, 12 years ago, yeah. So that counts also.
Yes.
To keep you going strongly.
Wow.
Yeah.
It has been such a privilege to have you visit us on the couch and just share those stories with us from Italy to South Africa, and that little bit of advice to always remain positive. So thank you so much for visiting us.
Thank you for having me. You made it so easy also. Thank you. Thank you
Nou,
very
hoor jy
much.
dit? Positiwiteit sleutel tot oud word.